Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Hardwood Nation podcast with your boy, CL Anthony, my main man, Bryce Ward, my second favorite white guy, Michael Franz,
Boom.
and Kobe B. What is going on, fellas?
You heard it.
To be here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning, guys. Good morning, guys.
Morning.
As Mike was so eloquently going to say, we got some shit to get into today.
Mhm.
Hey, Cam, when you say your second favorite white boy, you think your buddy Adam gets mad at? Does he watch this?
No, well, one, Adam doesn't watch the podcast, and two,
Okay.
Adam is my brother. So that's how.
Okay. I was wondering. I was like, damn, he just forgot about Adam.
Look, that friendship's deep, bro. First grade, his mother was my teacher. That's a deep one there. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
facts. Facts.
So
Let's go way back, huh?
way back. So as always, we got some shit to get into today. So a lot of shit, but I'm not gonna go on my victory lap just yet. So going into the NBA Finals, 11 of 15 ESPN basketball experts
Oh my God.
picked the Oklahoma City Thunder to win this game in a sweep or 5 games, which it could be a 5-game series. It could. How confident were you guys in the sports pundits leading up to game 1 with their analysis on how this series would go? So I'm going to throw this to Pat first.
Bro, you're asking the wrong one. I do not believe in ESPN or sports pundits. They're normally wrong. Their opinions are based on the moment or who's paying them the most. So, I mean, it's all opinionated, whatever they decide. But most of us are wrong all the time. So, yeah, I never lean on what ESPN says or Stephen A says, Kendrick Perkins, Skip Bayless, none of those guys, bro. I watch the games myself and I try to have the best informed opinion. So, yeah, that's how I feel about that.
Were you surprised that the Pacers went in there and took game 1?
Yes.
Okay.
As I was watching the game, I kind of gave up on them. I noticed they were, they didn't like stop their effort. They're very like fast. They're go. I thought the turnovers kept them out of the game for a while, but then that fourth quarter come in and it's a whole different story. Halliburton is the whole team, man. The way they play and they never give up. They stick around and man, I mean to literally the last tenth of a second, they are battling to win the game. So
Yeah.
it was a very, very good game. Yeah.
Bryce, I'm going to throw it to you next. Me and you had a 2-hour conversation about this the other day. Leading up to the NBA Finals, how confident were you that the OKC Thunder would kind of steamroll through the Indiana Pacers as everyone picked them to do?
I didn't. I picked them to win the series, but not steamroll. We know, like Pat just said, a lot of people are wrong every day. That's fine. But the way the ESPN analysts and other pundits, the way they kind of get on their high horse and sound like they're so convinced that the Thunder are going to win in 4 or 5 seemed a bit extreme to me. And how so many people jumped on that wagon, almost like there's like an agenda or people not too excited about the Thunder Indiana series to begin with, trying to put it down before it even got started, which seemed foolish to me. I think that's part of the problem in general is you have a lot of pundits putting down the overall product even before it gets going. So me, I especially this talk we had the other day, I usually don't buy into whatever the overall common agenda is, especially if everybody's pretty much saying the same thing. I still, like I said, I did pick the Thunder, but nothing about what Indiana did in game 1 surprised me. I mean, except for the beginning of the game, the turnovers, like Pat said, was so horrible. It seemed like it almost took Indy out of the game, but Indy doesn't quit. Carlisle doesn't let those guys quit. He had them shooting threes all night because OKC is trying to block out the paint. They looked okay, which is promising going forward if you're rooting for the Pacers, because they definitely didn't play their best basketball and they still came back and won that game. If you're OKC, you have to be worried about dropping down 0-2 if you don't come out and play the right way for a full 48 minutes, or so. Yeah, I mean, I'm a little surprised they came out and pulled out game one like that. I still expected the series to be competitive, not a sweep or a gentleman's sweep like a lot of people were predicting.
Got it. Great take so far, guys. So, Mike, I gotta preface this first. So, I was watching the game. I went to sleep midway through the second quarter. I'm old. I went to sleep. Okay. So, before I went to sleep, which proves I went to sleep, I was actually live tweeting during the game. And at some point, you started texting me and tweeted back, and I swear to God, I love you to death. And then you actually made a tweet say, "Someone's quiet right now." Okay, that's because I was fucking asleep. Okay.
Yeah.
So
the only time
I didn't think you'd be asleep during the finals, bro.
I was asleep. So Mike tweeted, he's like, "Somebody's quiet right now" because he was on the OKC train. I get it. Now, one thing I did see before I went to sleep was, yes, it was a hell of a lot of turnovers. Yes, OKC was packing the paint. But Indiana was missing threes, and they were missing wide open threes. They were open, okay? And they were just missing them. Like I said, I went to sleep. So I woke up probably 5 minutes after the game went off. And I'm like, holy shit, it was a game on. So now I hit my phone, jumping on YouTube, see if I can see post game. And I saw the Pacers had won by 1 point. And I just started laughing. I just laughed, okay? And then I was up for like 2 to 3 hours watching all the post game shit. My question to you is, how confident were you in the fact that OKC was going to win the first game with that hot start that they got off to? Because they were doing all the OKC things in the first and second quarter.
Yeah, I was absolutely 100% confident. In fact, it was going exactly the way that I wanted it to, the way that you and I had a conversation about it last week. Right, it was going like pretty much play for play, like the turnovers, the defense, the scoring, right? Like, I get that Indiana missed quite a bit of wide open shots, but I feel that that's a thing that OKC does when they're at home. That's how a lot of teams end up happening and playing when OKC is there. You know what I'm saying? Like with their defense and whatnot. So when I'm seeing 18 turnovers in the first half, they're up at 1 point by 15. I see Caruso coming off the bench, steals after, like, he filled the stat line sheet. He didn't have a lot of numbers, but he filled the stat line, including the fouls, though. I think that was a problem. He ended up with, I think, 5, if not he fouled out, something like that. So, but even then, Lou Dort hitting his threes, this, that, and the other. So, and I mentioned those two specifically because we had that conversation in regards to those two individuals. They were going to be factors. What I didn't expect, though, was Andrew Nemhart's energy to keep them in it the way that it was, and Obi Toppin shooting 100% from 3 points. That was ridiculous. I think to me, that's like lightning in a bottle.
In the beginning, he missed one.
What's that?
I said I think in the first quarter he missed one, maybe two. I think it was an air ball in there somewhere.
Well, he was 4 for 4 in into the third. Okay. That's why they brought him in and kept him in that time. He had a hot hand, right? So between some of these things that happen, like I said, it's almost like for me, I'm watching this. I'm like, this is almost lightning in a bottle because this doesn't happen in OKC. When OKC goes up by double digits, they win that game. Period. Even at home, like especially at home. So I was pretty surprised overall as to how everything ended up happening. I'm kind of like where Bryce was surprised by the beginning. I was surprised by the end. That third and fourth quarter was kind of crazy.
They're front runners until someone punches them in the mouth, and it's similar to the Boston Celtics. And I'm gonna get into that in 1 second if I can get this clip up.
When I checked the box score yesterday, I think that was yesterday. Their 3-point percentage was like ended up in like 39% or something like that.
No, OKC's was 39, I believe.
Yeah. Oh no, not their 3-point. Their field goal. What did they end up
Yeah.
with?
Oh, their field goal percentage was trash. It was 39%. Yeah.
We're gonna get into that a little later. We're gonna get into that a little later. Trust me, we're gonna get into that. So the box score thing was pretty interesting because, like I told you guys, we all had a discussion about it. I had you guys look at it.
Mm-hmm.
For 0.3 seconds was the only time that the Indiana Pacers led in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Craziness, right? It's just absolute craziness. But then I remember telling Bryce, I said, look, I went to sleep on the game. I got to really study this box score and see what the hell went on. Okay. And I did. And what I saw was very interesting because, as I told you guys, I've never seen no shit like that in my life. And I've been watching basketball forever. Okay. And I've never seen anything like that. I'm going to see if this clip will play, maybe.
What do you mean you never saw what? What did you ever seen what?
I'm going to tell you in 1 second. Hold on.
Okay.
I can't hear that.
You can't hear it, bro.
Okay.
But you were going in on
Just 1 second. 1 second.
So, Pat, who are you guys going to trade off your Lakers this offseason?
All right. So what I wanted to illustrate there is that from a basketball standpoint, the points that I made on Cortez's podcast, which was Monday before game one, matched up with what the box score showed me. Now, did I know that was going to happen? Absolutely not. The Pacers outshot the OKC Thunder as far as field goal percentage. They out-rebounded the OKC Thunder by like 20-some-odd points. They only led for 0.3 seconds. So that's what I mean when I say I've never seen that before. So what that told me was, had there been not 24 turnovers for the Pacers would have won this game by 10 to 14 points. They would have won this game.
You said that. Okay, I forgot you did say that.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's where I was going with that. So I'm going to throw it to Mike first. As far as that box score, how shocked I was shocked. How shocked were you when you really saw what happened to the game in the box score?
I was shocked purposely, because of the fact of like what you're talking about is if those 24 turnovers didn't happen, of what the score would have been like, right? But that eliminates the ability for OKC's defenses, which is what they thrive on, right? So that's why it surprised me so much that they more have let it go at the right time that Indiana needed to pick it up, right? And it just worked out in that favor. I would have never, ever expected this to happen with this box score the way that it was. And a lot of that stuff was done in the third and fourth quarter specifically.
Right.
Those numbers were so trash in the first half because of OKC's defense, right? So that's what they're built on. Like I've said multiple times, number one defense last year coming into this season. They were top 5 defense this year, and defense wins championships. So when you're up by that, you have that many turnovers. To me, it was more or less OKC losing it than Indiana winning it.
Well, OKC only scored like 11 points off those turnovers. Pat, how shocked were you at the box score?
I don't know if I was shocked. I was trying to look at the Portland versus Lakers game 7 in whatever year that was,
In 2000? You
When
went
we were
back
down
that far?
Yeah, we were down 20 points and we came back and Kobe threw Shaq that alley. I don't know how many turnovers we had at that point, but we came down from 20 and won. But so I'm not really shocked. I mean, you see that type of stuff all the time. At least I do. Not maybe on that stage, but
One, that was the conference finals. Two, the Lakers had led early in that game. I remember that game.
Okay, I was trying to remember.
The Lakers didn't lead. Look, I don't remember a game in 30 years of watching the NBA where a team has never led, and the only time they led was the game-winning shot. I've never seen
okay, that's what you're saying. Okay,
right. I've never seen that.
Yeah, I can't think of a game right off the top of my head where yes, you only lead at 0.3 seconds left in the game. No, I've never, especially in the finals. That was amazing, bro. And it speaks to the competitiveness that we're going to see for the remainder of the series. For a lot of people to write the Pacers off, I mean, I did for most of the playoffs, but I kept being humbled every series. The Pacers are a solid team, bro, and I was surprised that they even were in the finals, and they may win the championship this year, and it's going to humble a lot of us out here who think we know about basketball. But to answer your question, yes, I was surprised that they had that many turnovers and were able to fight through a 15-point deficit to end up winning the game. It was an amazing performance, and I've never seen that myself. Yes, I agree with you, yes, sir. Yes.
Before I go to Bryce, I just want to give you the stage to say this because we talked offline, of course. I know you picked initially the OKC Thunder to win the championship. Who you got now?
Me?
No. Pat.
Oh, you're asking me? Oh.
There's some awkward silence there.
I thought you were asking Bryce. Oh,
no.
Who's going to win the series?
Yeah.
Let me use my Pisces psychic abilities here. Pacers in 7. Woo! Yeah.
Nigga, you just said Pacers in 6 the other day. Come on,
I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just willy-nilly in it out here, man. I don't know.
These next 2 questions are going to Bryce and Mike, but I want to hit Bryce with it first because, again, I had conversations with all you guys offline, and the 3 fans we got need to hear this shit. So, Bryce, I think I tweeted you and Mike that they said this was like the lowest game won in the history of the NBA or some shit as far as ratings and shit like that. So we had a conversation about fans wanted parity, and this NBA Finals is a result of said parity. And I know you were a little upset with some of those fans who at one point said they didn't like super teams, but now apparently they don't like the parity in the league. So I just want you to express, some of your thoughts on that.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
first
just
Mike. You first then Mike.
All right. Yeah, I think they're fake fans. They should go watch wrestling or something because I think they're looking for more drama than anything, and that's fair if that's what you want. But let's be real about what you want, because if you're complaining about these finals and the players in them, then like I said, I don't think you're a true basketball fan, because this is what we've been begging for a long time. Personally, if you're not a Boston fan, if you're not a Lakers fan, if you're not, let's say Knicks, because the large market, even though they can't seem to win, let's just say you're one of these big teams. The last thing you might want is parity, because that takes the opportunity for your team to be there every single year. The Big Three era was big money era, and not every team can compete in that way. So I like where the league's going. It creates problems if you're looking at it from a certain lens. Okay, if you're a pundit or you work for ESPN or you make money getting clicks off this shit and you don't like this direction, then go find something else to report on because your fan base will eventually see through. I think what you're bringing because you're not bringing real opinion. You can look at something and watch it all the time and give your opinion like a lot of these people do. But you can tell from this episode. I think a lot of real fans see through that, and I think we're drifting away from that kind of thing, like a Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith, who just want to be characters and want to play into the same hype. It's like every big pundit station, they all get the same like shit to read off. They all have the same opinions, almost all of them, like 95%. It gets old. And for the people complaining about the parody, about the ratings, about big market teams, I think you're focusing on the wrong thing. I think you're part of the problem. I think you're part of the problem in what's bringing the NBA down, at least, and you're ignoring most of the younger population following the game because even if TV ratings are down, everything else from what I'm reading was up. Every other way you could watch the game was up. People following the game up, numbers up
Okay.
across the board, except for TV ratings. But let's be real, TV ratings are down for everything. So if you're
Right.
gonna give us if you're gonna give us one stat, give us the whole look at the image because,
Right.
like I said, we're all getting tired of the bullshit lies. We're getting tired of the characterization. It's like you're trying to be an actor instead of just being real. And most people are sick of it. I think that's why ESPN numbers are down. That's why everything on TV is down because people are just fed up with it. And I think we're going to see this trend grow. I think despite what team you have in there, TV numbers are going to have issues going forward, and it's just because you can watch it in so many different ways. And most of the guys, I think, that are real hardcore fans now is of a younger age group. You're not getting 60-year-olds watching the game, I think, as much as some of the younger crowd. And the way you watch the game is going to be different. So, yeah, I have a problem with it. I push back on it. Like, of course, I'm not saying I didn't pick the Thunder like a lot of people. I'm just saying I never bought into the hype that they were going to railroad Indiana. Indiana's there for a reason. Like Pat, I bet against them. I bet against OKC a lot this series because I needed to see it. I needed them to prove me wrong. Indiana had a lot of excuses last year as to why they made it that far. A lot of people felt so. They didn't have the most convincing regular season. They turned on their defense in the second half. They stayed healthy. They did all the things they needed to do, and yet still with this playoff run, as convincing as it was, I've still seen people belittle this run, blaming it on injuries for this player or that player. No, they would have beaten the Knicks regardless of what happened. The Knicks would have beaten Boston regardless if Tatum wouldn't have went down. Indiana deserves to be here. Cleveland was false prophets, like a lot of us, or at least definitely Cam felt. So Indiana definitely deserves to be here. They don't need to. If they're an underdog, they don't need to be as heavy as underdog as people made them out to be. And if that's the case, then, like I said originally, I felt annoyed. Like everybody had an agenda to support OKC, and I brought this up to Cam the other day. It's a wider like divisional thing, conference thing as well. It's like everybody always wants to put down the East. Oh, the East doesn't have the competition in the West. That's fine. But to act like these Eastern Conference teams, if you're not Boston, doesn't have a chance, just seems silly to me. And we're seeing the results because game one, Indiana came out and took that game. OKC went out there and started playing complacent, and Indiana went out and took that game. Made everybody take them seriously. And I asked Cam the other day, too, I go, how confident are you in your pick if one game changes how you see the series? Because for me, it looked like it changed the opinion on a lot of people, at least in terms of giving Indiana some respect. So yeah, that's how I felt about it, and I like the direction that the league and the series is going. So I'm excited.
Mike, before I go to you, I just want to say, Bryce, I think that's the greatest take that you've ever dropped in the history of this podcast. I just I just want to say that.
Bro was real passionate about that one. I felt
Always
that
I
trying
was
one.
just going to say, how am I supposed to follow that up? How am I supposed to follow that up?
Bryce, that was fucking fantastic. Mike, last week we talked about, the parody and this being the result of the parody. I know you mentioned that people are going to watch this. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Looks like that's what we have. But at the end of the day, I didn't see all of the game. I believe you did. How great was this game one?
It was great. It was exciting from minute 1 to 0.3 seconds.
Mhm.
Absolutely. It was exciting. So the only point that I can follow up with as far as that question regarding parody, because Bryce, like, I don't know how I follow that up, but whatever. Thanks, CL, for making me go after. Okay. Thanks for making me go after this guy, but I think the whole thing with the parody, like, I love it. I've always said this. When I watch chess matches, I'd rather play chess than checkers, for one. Completely different games, different mindsets. But I love defense as well. I'll play a game of dominoes and lock it up and take everybody's domino points before I get 5 points on the board, right? I'd rather lock it up, put it that way. So this game for me was great. The defense at the beginning, my personal prediction, which was 5 games, but expecting the sweep, right? The sweep's not going to happen, but I'm still going with 5. Just because I need to back that up. So
hey, yo.
I need to hold on. I need to stand on business and stick by my words. But my point regarding parody is that I think people didn't like it because it wasn't their team. You have 30 teams in the league, and at one point it was only 1 or 2 that had these super teams that would take over. Look, we saw Cleveland and we saw Golden State for multiple years, right? Super teams. We saw Miami. We saw them in the finals multiple years. We see a lot of these teams that where the small market teams actually suffered for it, right? They couldn't afford the free agents. Nobody wanted to go there, whatever. They wanted to go to big market, get the money, like Bryce is talking about. It was a money era, right? But the emotional side of it, I feel like, is more or less because those people that hated that shit, it wasn't their team that was the super team. That was the only reason. Because now people are, like you said, they're calling for, like, this is an exciting series. It doesn't have the names, but you've got everything you need. You've got defense. You've got scoring. You've got coaching, right? You've got what you want. And the crazy thing is do you know, you should know the finals that had the least viewership. It was the bubble championship. Mm-hmm. That's the only one that this came second to, right? So every NBA Finals, and this was probably one of the best game ones I've ever seen.
Can I speak on the viewership at some point?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
I agree with Bryce on that. You know how many ways we have to watch NBA games now? It's not restricted to turning on your TV to TNT and NBC, ABC. We have streaming now, and the way they measure these things, it's in its infancy, and it's not available to the general public, and for them to only point out that the viewership through the traditional means is down is not a true reflection of the entire picture. And it's sort of like listening to caveman or people talk about, oh, the car is never going to overtake the horse, or it's like, bro, catch up to the times. We're not in the same. It's 2025. We're in a different time. We stream. I can watch a game on my phone, my watch, my laptop. It's not the same way, and I can watch it anytime I get ready to watch the game. You know what I'm saying? So, this narrative about the viewership of the NBA is down, like the product has lessened or fell off, it's totally false. And people who are saying that are really casual fans. For them to not appreciate what we're seeing right now as far as competition level. I dismiss them. I really don't pay attention to people who speak like that. I saw some people comment on social media about, oh, the finals doesn't have aura. We don't have stars in the finals. But from the people's perspective, I see all these Halliburton memes and the kids loving SGA, and you know what I'm saying. It's from people who really are paying attention to the game and following these players. We have a whole different perspective on what's really happening. It's just the casuals who are the loudest, it seems, and they have their strong opinions, and that's what's getting noticed. But the viewership, I mean, the NBA has more social media followers than the NFL, MLB, and the NHL combined, bro. And it's not even close. So, yeah, I don't really understand where that narrative is coming from, other than just ignorance. So that's what I wanted to say about that.
I want to say this real quick. That was great. That I think where in this series the NBA is missing the I don't even know what missing the target is that we know SGA is great, MVP, great kid, great guy. We also know Tyrese Halliburton is arrogant, he's cocky, he's a dick, but he backs it up, right? And look,
Right.
he loves his milk, but I'm not gonna be mad at him for loving his milk. So, with that said, you know I had to get it in there, right? You know I had to get it in there.
What?
Like 2 or 3 glasses at a time. He's gonna
With that said, they
get some nosebleeds. You don't watch.
Traditionally, Mike, Pat, you guys know he was always a good guy versus a bad guy. Jordan was a good guy. Barkley was a bad guy, right? So that's where
I hated Jordan.
LeBron was the good guy. Steph, the bad guy. Steph was the good guy.
Right. So traditionally, that's what the NBA would do, and I think they're missing that right now. Tyrese Halliburton has absolutely no fucking problem being a bad guy in this series. None. Okay? Absolutely none. And they're not pushing that narrative, which is what they need to do. Now, I'm not going to say what we used to say 20 years ago, that foreign players are soft, but we do know that SGA doesn't have the edge that Tyrese Halliburton has. I said on Cortez's podcast, he does not have to score a lot of points to dictate the pace and the result of the game. He had 14 fucking points in game 1 and hit the game-winning shot. It takes a special player to know at the end of the game, I want the fucking ball, because so many players shy from that. So I think that's where the NBA is missing this right now. You have to put Shea as the good guy and put Tyrese Halliburton as the bad guy, and then you'll get more eyes than what you're getting right now.
There's one. Can I make a point to that real quick?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Tyrese Halliburton has all those qualities, but I think that they're not necessarily missing that boat on him actually being the main bad guy, because the Pacers as a team
are the bad guy.
A beast. They're the bad guy. Yes. Because in the third quarter, bro, it was Andrew Nembhard, right? And then, not Andrew Nembhard, Neesmith ended up coming in. Neesmith was doing everything too. He was hitting what he needed to hit. Like, it was a whole team combined effort. It wasn't.
Well, OKC's supposed to be a deeper team, though. That's what I've been hearing all the playoffs. OKC's a deeper team.
From who?
From the fake pundits. That's what I've been hearing.
Oh,
and from,
yeah,
and from the fans that listen
what
to
what was Jalen's stat line? Because I know how bad Chet Holmgren's was. So I'm just seeing how good, how hyped up their role players felt them. And
So
role
Jalen
players, I say
Williams-
role players because I don't believe in Chet and Williams.
Hartenstein was non-existent in this game once they benched him, which I don't think we got time to get into that. But I told Pat and I told Mike they lost that game when they benched Hartenstein. But
yes, I agree. And I had said he was going to be. I had said he's going to be an X factor in this series. which is when we were talking about, was he going to be,
Yeah.
would the Knicks have gone to the finals if they would have kept players like him?
Yeah, Bryce, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, Jalen Williams outlined with 17 points, 1 steal, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds.
Yeah. What was his shooting percentage?
4 and 6.
He went 6 for 19. He was terrible.
He was terrible.
So you go. So between him and SGA taking like 100 shots, it's like you gotta get other people involved. Indiana did the same thing to the Knicks. Let Brunson do his thing and shut down pretty much. Cat had some good games. I'm not saying that, but then there were targets on defense. So it's like Indiana can focus and let one guy or do whatever, but they've done a good job at shutting down for the most part the rest of the team. And if you are going to score, you're going to take a bunch of shots to get there and be inefficient.
Right. So there was one team, and there's one team in the past 25 years that showed that, and it was the blueprint. You know what that was, Theo?
I already know where you're going. The Pistons, goddammit. I already know where you're going.
You know I'm going to the Pistons.
The Pistons when they beat the Lakers with Kobe, Shaq,
Fuck the Pistons, bro.
And Gary Payton. I already know where you're going with that.
I was rooting for the Pistons in that series.
In this case, it worked, right? But OKC they are a deep team. If Chet Holmgren, he only had 6 points. If he ends up being effective, although that's a Miles Turner thing, if Chet Holmgren can actually be effective, this is a different game tonight, completely.
Well, so that's what we're going to get into to close the podcast as far as what we think is going to happen tonight.
Yep.
But I do want to say this, and this is for the casual fans, like Pat said, casual fans, the fake people getting millions of dollars on TV, which I am jealous because I should be getting that, right?
Me
let's
too.
Just be real. Let's be real about it, right?
Yes.
I never believed the hype. I never believed the noise. This is no disrespect to OKC. Me and Bryce, low-key, have been talking about Indiana as one of the teams that can make a breakthrough for the last 3 years. We had ever since Tyreek's been there. We're like, okay, we need to watch Pacers. Mm-hmm. We do need to watch Thunder. We need
Show me the thread. I don't believe you. Show me the thread,
bro. It's true. If you watch if you watch the podcast, you will fucking know. Okay, so we talked about the Pacers, the Thunder, the Spurs, and the Magic as the next teams that could possibly break through that the NBA was looking at because Memphis fucked up. Because Memphis was supposed to be that team. The position that OKC is in right now, it was actually supposed to be Memphis, but Memphis fucked that up. Okay,
I agree.
So yes,
we've had team out.
Right. After the season, you could probably say Houston and Detroit in there too.
The Magic, yes. The Magic.
Thank you, Bryce. Bryce, thank you. I knew I loved you, bro. Thank you. You left the team out.
Magic, bro.
Houston
yes, the Magic. And
the Magic. Yeah. Don't be surprised when the Magic are near the conference finals next season if they're healthy. Yeah. Don't be surprised. I'm saying it now. Everybody's going to be surprised.
Look, real quick. I don't want to get off track here. The Magic should have beat Cleveland last year. Let's just say that.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Bro, it was up at halftime at Game 7, bro.
Young player mistakes. Palo is 22. We got time.
This podcast is pro Magic, boy. I don't know, boy. God,
I hate the fucking Magic. What are you talking about?
No. I just don't let the Magic trash talk with no reason run wild like the rest of the internet lets it. That's all.
Oh my God.
So we're gonna move on to our next topic, which is gonna be what should happen tonight. And again, I've talked with all three of you guys about what should happen tonight. I don't mind OKC winning tonight because Indiana did what they were supposed to do. They got split. They have home court advantage, period. Nothing else matters. But that game tonight cannot be a close game. OKC was blowing people out by like 20 points on average during this playoff run. It cannot be a close game. So if OKC goes out there and blows Indiana out, they can kind of snatch some of that momentum. If OKC wins, and this is a 2, 3, 4 point game, Indiana still has the momentum. Okay? I'm going to throw it to Pat first. How you feel about it?
You do not want to be that close in the game, that late in the game with Indiana. If you've been watching them this entire playoffs. You do not want to give them if you're even within a minute left in the game and they're down 6 points, it's a chance Indiana is going to win that game. Right. So yeah, you do not want to be that close within the game. I think we need to be careful with living in the moment though. Yes, the Pacers did win. They've been playing great in the playoffs. We're against the talking heads on ESPN and other sources, but I like to reference my squad a lot. The '01 Lakers got punched in the mouth by the MVP Allen Iverson and the Sixers, who were not expected to make it that far, and they quickly got their ass whooped the next 4 games. So we need to be careful about living in the moment, and it's going to be a very competitive series. OKC is a great team.
Are they? Are they really though? Are they really though? I challenge that. And
they're a good, very good team.
They were a 1 quarter away from losing to the Nuggets. That's why I challenge that.
Okay? The Nuggets are a really good team.
So
the Nuggets are a very good team.
That's why I challenge that. And no disrespect to no one on here, but I don't want to hear that you're a great team and you almost lost in the game 7 at home when Indiana had no home court advantage throughout the duration of this playoffs and never went to a game 7. So that's what I don't want to hear. I'm sorry.
Your hatred for the Thunder is very clear.
There's no hatred. I love the Thunder.
The
only team I hate is
I think we're splitting hairs on the opinion on good versus great. I think we get this point.
They have the MVP on their team.
I'm just hitting people with stats. An MVP that Dwayne Wade had better numbers of when he was second to LeBron James back in the day. So I don't want to hear. It's watered down. I don't want to hear.
With that being said, let me finish, bro. They have a great team. They have a very good defense. They blew out a lot of teams this season.
Weak teams.
They're not They didn't make it this far because they suck. Okay. They have a chance to win this series in a championship. So overall, I think we just gotta see what happens. I mean, we all have our opinions and what we think is going to happen, but we just gotta watch these games, man. We can't go to sleep in the first half and wake up and
it's tough when you're old. Yeah,
but
let me say this. I went to sleep because I was confident that the Pacers was going to win that game. I'm the only.
No, you weren't.
I'm the only motherfucker that chose. Listen, I'm the only motherfucker that chose the Pacers to win this fucking series, and I can stand on business on that. So I'm not worried about that shot. But what I'm saying is this. This is what I'm saying. I'm not saying OKC can't wrap this up in 5 games. That's not what I'm saying. Okay. I'm not saying what the Pacers did in game 1 was lucky because the box score shows me otherwise. So all those people that suck the dick of stats can look at the stats and see Indiana dominated OKC where it mattered the most. Field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, and rebounds. A great team would not.
I'm not disagreeing with that, sir. I'm not.
Only in
it's one game.
This ain't personal. And I know it's one game. This ain't personal. OKC can still win in 5 games. I'm not disputing that. But what I'm saying is I'm sick of people saying OKC is this great team. They almost lost to fucking Denver in the second round.
But also, it's not like Indiana has proved to be what you're considering the standard for a great team. It's not like Indiana has proven that either.
I never said they were great.
That's what I'm saying. The series is going to be good, fair, instead of people.
What they do have
off OKC.
This is what Indiana have that OKC hasn't shown they have yet. Because outside of Denver, who ain't the hardest team in the league as far as toughness, OKC hasn't proved that they can beat somebody tough. Indiana has proved that they can beat somebody tough. OKC does not. No player on that fucking team. Even SGA, and this is no disrespect to him, has the balls the size of Tyrese Halliburton. How many times does this nigga gotta go out there? Yes. How many times does this nigga gotta go out there and hit fucking game-winning shots in every fucking series leading up to the finals in game 1 before we put some respect on his name? Yeah, he might be a cornball. Yeah, he might be a milkman, but this motherfucker is dominating the fucking playoffs. Are you kidding me?
He may look like
you bring us a good point. But aside from being the underdog in each series, and I'm not downplaying Indiana because I like what they're doing. But who did they beat? That's such a great team too, because they played a bunch of who you would consider teams that were soft that didn't prove anything to you yet either.
I never said New York was soft. I never said
you never believed in you never believed in the New York Knicks.
I believe that New York would beat Boston for the last 2 years.
He believed that they were going to beat.
But you didn't like the Knicks,
okay, but you don't believe in Boston as being some great team either.
Right.
So who did Indiana beat to convince you all of a sudden that they're great? It's not that they're great; it's that OKC isn't great in your eyes as well.
OKC is not great.
Bryce on your head, Bryce.
OKC is not great. They're trash.
Get him, Bryce.
The box score would show that OKC was not great in game 1 at home. That's the game that you need to be great in. Period.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not.
So the underdog. So wait. So this is what we said. So the underdog getting the split that no one gave a chance to is not a big thing. That's what y'all telling me.
No. But it's but game 1 is not the one that you have to go out and do those.
For Indiana, it is. For Indiana, it is the game. And
yeah, they took it.
OKC fucking blew it. OKC fucking blew it. So
right, exactly. So OKC blew it more than Indiana.
Doesn't matter.
Indiana just picked it up at the right time.
It doesn't matter. Indiana has all the fucking momentum in this series. Now, again, as we go to game 2 tonight, like I said, OKC has to blow them out. It can't be a close game. I threw it to Pat first. Mike, what are your thoughts on OKC's game plan, strategy, how they have to win tonight?
So they need to stop missing as much as they were. They need to get Chet Holmgren involved. There's a lot of things that they could have done. They could have had one simple change, and instead of having Kason Wallace on Tyrese Halliburton, if they would have put Dort on him, he's not making that shot. He's not making that shot. So that's what I'm saying. So OKC, I believe that OKC lost this more than Indiana won it completely because they have all the momentum. They were going into the series. There were 2 teams since January 1st at the very top of the NBA in efficiency and defense, and that was OKC and it was Indiana since January 1st, the best 2 teams in the NBA. Number 2 was Indiana. Number 1 was OKC. So no matter how you slice it, OKC, from all perspectives going into this series, has everything that was needed to show a possible sweep or even just dominance. So Indiana, yes, you are correct, 100% needed to win that game to grasp what they have now. But if they go to the drawing board and switch some of these small mistakes that they had, it shouldn't come down to the last shot, but you're not going to see in this series, you're not going to see 20-point blowouts. And if you do, I'm really questioning the actual greatness of the other team, period.
We're the only ones that's saying that we're not going to see a 20-point blowout because everybody else saying it's a blowout.
No, I don't believe that.
Before I go to Bryce, I just want to say this. OKC lost game 1 when they made that lineup change for absolutely no reason. And my tweet was, why would they make this change right now? What are they afraid of? And like you said, the shot that Halliburton hit to win the game was on the guy that shouldn't have been in the game to begin with. Okay?
Yes, agreed.
So we say in the NFL,
that's a coaching.
Right. We say in the NFL it's a game of inches, right? We all say that in the NFL, it's a game of inches. If you're the dominant team, if you're the best team in the league, if you have the fucking MVP, if you have one of the coaches of the year, why do you make a change like that? Why? It made no fucking sense. You have to put your foot on the neck of the opponent and choke them out, especially in game 1. Maybe your opponent could come and win game 2 when you have home court, but you do not want to drop game 1 when you have home court.
So then, did Vegas make that call then?
I don't give a fuck about Vegas. I don't know who made the call.
Don't speak on conspiracies.
I don't know who made the call.
I just think the tried to get cute and tried to get fancy, and he made a mistake. I think that's what happened.
Thank you. Right. It's a human element. Humans make mistakes. We make bad coaching decisions,
and it has
nothing to do with conspiracy theories. Yeah,
right. And that's not in the box score. What Bryce just said and what Pat just said. People making mistakes. Rick Carlisle is already a championship coach. 2011, he beat a team that he wasn't supposed to beat. Everybody picked the Heat to win that series. Dallas went in there and beat the shit out of us. Trust me.
Beat the shit out of them.
Trust me. You know what? You know what? I lost all confidence in OKC when they made that fucking change before game 1. Making a change in game 2, game 3, game 4, I get it. But I just go back to what were you afraid of? And it's so ironic that guy was the guy on Tyrese Halliburton in the game. That shot was so beautiful. The form was so perfect. The spacing. What?
Bro hoop like Steve Urkel, bro.
Look at it again.
Bro,
look at
it. I've seen the videos. Hey, even if he does it well, he does play like Steve Urkel. Yeah, like it's impressive.
It goes in the basket. It goes in.
Yeah. I think Chet Holmgren could have been on in there, and he is still making that shot one way or another. Personally,
yeah. Chet Holmgren, they switched Chet Holmgren onto him a few times, and that's when Tyrese Halliburton was having a horrible time on the court in the first half.
It was
the game winner in New York. He was going to drive. And he went back out to the 3-point line.
That was a circus shot. That was nuts.
But I'm saying, really though, it doesn't matter, bro. Like
that's lightning in a bottle too, bro.
That was like some of the shots Jokic was hitting a few seasons ago when they won their championship. Spin around circus shots from behind the three. They just hitting.
Don't remind me, bro.
I've been lining off those shots for 2 years. I'm like, Denver's good.
So we're gonna wrap this up really soon. But again, we're all in agreement that OKC is probably gonna win game 2, and they need to blow them out.
I don't believe that. If I want to believe in OKC, I don't care how the game goes. At the end of the game, I want to see OKC push through pressure. I don't want to see a blowout and then them ride the end of the game. That won't convince me that they can win the rest of the series. If I'm confident in OKC after this game, it's because they showed me that they can do what the Pacers did and fight through adversity late in the game. I want it to be close and to OKC to show me that they can handle the pressure. That would make me believe in OKC more than a 20-point blowout at this point, to be honest.
So wait. They've won most of their games by blowout. So what you're telling me is
that I've also not picked OKC on almost any series. I've had to be convinced. I don't believe in a 20-point blowout, at least not in one game against Indiana in this series. I don't believe it.
What we see in the first 3 rounds and then game 1 versus OKC, you really want to put the ball in Tyrese Halliburton's hand in a close game? Like, at what point do we learn? At what point do we learn?
To play in a way that forces Indiana to fuck up. They have to force the ball and make Indiana play their style, and that needs to be at the close of the game too. And they need to show me that they can fight through adversity.
Right. I agree with Brian.
So you're saying OKC needs to prove to you that they're not soft?
Yeah, they need to win game 2, but I don't want to see them win by a blowout because Indiana, I don't believe, is going to get blown out. Indiana's too good. So I want to see a close game where OKC closes out with confidence and wins the game. Doesn't give it away. Indiana doesn't give it away. OKC goes out there and takes it. That's going to make me believe in OKC.
Yeah.
I'll say this before we go to our predictions. I think we are the only 4 people walking the face of this earth that are giving Indiana some credit right now. I'm just being real. Now, a lot of people did. A lot of these fake ass media pundits did change their tune after game 1. Trust me, I was watching all that shit, laughing at all these motherfuckers. But I think we are, from a basketball standpoint, the only 4 people that are saying, "Hey, this team is dangerous. You can't play with your food." Okay.
I don't see why, bro. Have they not been watching the playoffs?
That's my point. They're idiots.
They get paid to drink the Kool-Aid, and they want more pay, and they want more Kool-Aid. They're all drinking each other off.
Real quick, you said have these teams been did OKC watch Tyrese Halliburton make these game winners, this, that, and the other? Do they want the ball in his hands? Like, you don't want the ball in his hands? Me? Put the ball in his hands. As long as you have the right defender on him this time. Keep the ball in his hands.
You might regret what you just said.
The right defender can
regret what you just said.
I'm not going to regret that. I'm not going to.
You don't want the ball in Tyrese Halliburton's hand.
No, put it in that motherfucker's hands. I want to see it.
Have you not had enough yet?
Oh no,
Again,
I've watched.
I think keeping it in Halliburton's hands is daring them. I think good defense would try to force it out of Halliburton's hands and make someone else make a wide open shot. But to be honest, the rest of Indiana is hitting their shot. So it's like pick your poison. So you either want to dare Halliburton or you want to dare the rest of the team. Which one?
That fourth quarter, Halliburton wasn't effective until the end. That fourth quarter, everyone else, including Andrew Nembhard, which I absolutely love, was the one that kept them close.
Halliburton's the best passer in the league, and that's what's keeping his teammates in it.
Andrew Nembhard is going to be the most underrated player in this NBA Finals. But let me say this. I know we got to wrap up soon. So we're all picking OKC to win today. What we're disagreeing on is the amount of points that they need to win by. Okay. They only need 0.3 seconds apparently, or 0.4 seconds back in the day with Derek Fisher against the Spurs. Okay, my only issue is I don't want the game to be in Halliburton's hand at the end of the game. I don't want. That's why I say they need to blow them out. I don't even want to have that be a possibility right now because, like I said, how many times do people have to be slapped in the face before they see what's in front of them?
Well, I want it to be in SGA's hands for the final. Let him win the game. Let the MVP go out there and win the game.
I want to see OKC down. I want to see OKC down with 10 seconds left, and I want to see SGA pull up from the hash marks.
I don't even need to see that because he's 0 for 1 for that. That happened. He had the last shot.
He missed the mid shot. Yeah. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all know it. It ain't nothing personal. As far as I know right now, me and Pat are pro Indiana. Mike and Bryce are pro OKC. Does that still stand?
Yeah.
I would say yes.
Okay. Yeah. So by the time we record next week, unless there's like an emergency podcast, we should be at game 4 or 5 next week.
Series will be over.
Wow.
This is an odd take though. I think OKC wins, but I'm actually pulling for Indiana because I'll always pull for the Eastern team, except for like maybe Boston.
You should say Indiana's going to win the series. Like, get out of here.
I don't think they're gonna. I think that's going to be competitive and they're going to be good and it's going to go 6 or 7. And I want Indiana to win because they're setting the blueprint for how these younger teams. OKC too, I get it. But they're the
they both have, yeah.
I'm pulling for Indiana. I just think OKC does win the series. I'll say that.
There's 2 things that we can't see in a box score. And again, intangibles such as, 3 things. 50-50 balls, players who has the balls the size of grapefruits like Tyrese Halliburton, and then coaching. Wow. Yes, and then coaching.
I think Indiana's got a better coach too.
It's a Hardwood nation, bro. It's a Hardwood nation. Okay. So with that said, as Bryce just said, as me and Mike talked about last week, Rick Carlisle is an outstanding coach. He really is. Yeah. Absolutely.
Championship coach, a hard coach. And when you have a hard coach that trusts a cornball like Tyrese Halliburton, I'm telling you, this is the most amazing shit. In person, I wouldn't fuck with Tyrese Halliburton because, again, he's a cornball and he's a milkman. I wouldn't fuck with him. But from a basketball standpoint, what he's doing right now is fucking incredible. And we can't deny that. He's undeniable right now until he proves otherwise, which he hasn't happened yet. That's for OKC to prove to us that he's going to be, the scapegoat for the Pacers losing. But we haven't seen that yet. Because all we've seen is game-winning shots in every series, including this one. Okay? It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. I'm going to say that. On paper, OKC's the better team. Right. But sometimes that doesn't win you a championship. Yes, Detroit Pistons of fucking
2004.
2004 Lakers, 2011 Miami Heat. We have evidence of this.
Okay. 1988 Lakers, because we should have won that one too.
Isaiah Thomas with the bum ankle. So with that said, final thoughts. I'm going to throw it to Bryce first.
Wait, what's the question here? What am I answering?
Final thoughts. What the fuck you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? Final thoughts.
I think it's going to be a close. I want to see a close game. SGA wins it for him, or makes a play and opens up and wins them the game one way or another. That's what I think we need to see from OKC. That's what I'd like to see in this game. But I want a good game. I want a fun back and forth like what we had in game one. Maybe just maybe the whole game is a little closer than the first half.
Losing after 38 points is tough, especially when you had a layup line the first half of the game.
It's okay. 38 points ain't nothing for MVP.
Pat, I'll throw it to you. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. I've been saying this over and over. It's going to be a very competitive series. Do not think Halliburton is a fluke. He's been proving us wrong every series. If you had Chet on him, if you had Lou Dort, he would have got that work. Okay. The man is on fire right now.
He wasn't hitting when either one of those guys were on him, so I don't want to hear that.
No matter how you feel about him, he is putting foot to ass. Okay. That's what we see. It's not about what we feel. It's what we see.
Right.
If he's not scoring, he's still trying. He's still affecting the game.
Right. I want the game to be very competitive, like Bryce said. I don't want it to be a 40-point blowout by OKC. That's not proving anything to me, except that you can blow a team out in the first half. I want to see what you go through. I want to see you fight through adversity in the last minute. I want to see you stop that run from Indiana in the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see a blowout. It's OKC in Indiana in the finals. That's boring as fuck to see a 40-point blowout. I don't want to see that shit. So
great basketball. This is what Commissioner wanted.
Yes, I want to see competitive basketball. That's what I want to see.
Mike, what you got?
So I'm going to go a little bit different. It's not going to be a blowout, but I will say that I would love to see that. The reason being is because that's OKC's game. Mm-hmm. You ask them to keep it close, like by 1 or 2 or 3 points, that's not their game. Right. They came back from a 29-point deficit to win by 30. They beat a team by almost 50 through these playoffs, right? So that's their game. If they play their game, to me, if they can score and the other team can't, and it's that much of a difference, their defense is exactly where it needs to be because these motherfuckers can't score. That's what it's been all season. So I would love to see it because then it's like, okay, OKC's back in this thing the way that they want to be, the way that they need to be. I personally, if I wanted a choice, like to say, what would be more entertaining, a close game, absolutely. That game the other night was no joke. I loved it. For 2 small market teams, absolutely. That was beautiful. It's exciting. But for OKC to win, they do have to make a lot of adjustments, a lot of defensive moves. Coach, they need to make some better coaching decisions as well. Like, they need to go back to the drawing board for this. And I don't want it to seem like I'm not giving Halliburton his flowers at all. That man has been a factor through this whole playoffs, absolutely. But if he was such a factor, why did Pascal Siakam win the MVP of the Eastern Conference Finals?
Oh, my God.
We're not doing that.
Oh, my God.
We're not doing that. Get out here, Mike.
No, I'm just saying. He thought it was him so much, he was going to go get it. But it wasn't him.
Because he deserved it, bro. That's probably why. Did you watch the fucking series, bro?
I absolutely did.
Siakam had 2 30-point games. Siakam had 2 30-point games.
His defense,
32, 12, and 15.
Yo, his defense has been amazing. You guys are shortcoming.
Were you not surprised when they said Pascal Siakam? Were you surprised?
I was surprised.
Bro, what the fuck? Halliburton is a whole fucking movement right now.
But I did say Siakam was going to be a factor in this series, and he led the team with 19 points game 1. So, with that being said,
bro, what the fuck?
He did.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just,
okay.
No, he's saying that to me because he thinks I'm retarded for that shit.
No, one's saying that.
I don't think you're retarded. I just think you're a hater, bro.
No one's saying that.
I don't think you're retarded.
For all the people that love stats,
we all have too much respect for each other and think so much.
We're not doing that. Look,
not kid David.
So, but anyway, I will say this. I'm still standing personally because I have to I have to back up what my prediction was. I'm saying 5 games, right? But it's probably at this point going to go 6.
General Custer, just die on that hill, boy. You die on
I
that hill, okay?
I will. Trust me, I will.
This was fun.
I love you all. This was one of the best podcasts we ever had. Look, I had another topic to get into, but we didn't even have fucking time, so we'll get into it next time. Look, everyone, please like, subscribe, and share our content. Drop comments below. We are out, and everyone stay safe.